हाँ जी। Good evening, Sanjay Bedi, sir. This is Dr. Deepti Shastri speaking.
Hello, Deepti. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Sir, will you be sharing the invitation slide or should I share it, sir?
You can share it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello, hello, sir. Professor Sethuraman. Welcome, sir.
Namaste ji. Namaste everybody. Yeah. Light needs a little adjustment.
A large number of registrations are there to listen to your lecture, sir.
Good evening, Sanjay sir. Good evening, Sethuraman sir.
Good evening. I hope you have enough slots to get in, because from Malaysia, quite a few have registered, I think.
Okay. Yes.
I'm here for 10 years now. You'll have a lot of participants from here.
Yes, no problems.
Lot of fans waiting.
Yes.
Current and former team members, including Dr. Shivasakti. Manas is their old teammate. He's the oldest teammate today, I think. I saw Manas Kumar Banerjee somewhere.
Good evening, Prof. and everyone.
Ihab. Ihab is a former team member.
How are you, sir? How are
From
you
Egypt. Professor of ENT from Egypt, currently in Malaysia.
Okay. Malaysia is gradually becoming the regional hub for all domains of medical education together.
Yeah, the Manipal gets doctor from Manipal Education Academy, that ME unit people, they come regularly. I don't get to meet them.
Okay.
They are at southern end, I'm in the northern end.
So we have Dr. Deepti Shastri. She's from Deputy Dean from Karpaga Vinayak Medical College in Salem. She'll be holding the Master of Ceremonies and
I thought Karpaga Vinayagar was close to Chennai.
Sir, good evening, sir. Sethuraman, sir. I'm from
Vinayak.
Yes, sir.
I come there once or twice.
Sorry, yes, Vinayak Mission, yes.
Anatomy Physiology Conference, I think. I was chief guest at that time.
Sir, I'm actually not from Karpaga Vinayaka, sir. I'm from Vinayaka Mission's Kripananda Varya Medical College at Salem, sir. The constituent college of where AVMC is also a part of constituent college.
Mahalakshmi,
Yes, sir.
she introduced me one day to you. I remember you attended.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Supe.
Hello. Hi, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. God has kept us safe for 2 years now. Our campus, in spite
Yes,
of a lot of senior citizens from India here, nobody got sick, nobody got admitted till now.
very nice.
Touch wood.
Hello, sir. Tejinder sir has arrived.
Yes.
So, Tejinder,
Yeah.
oh, Renika is there. Hi, Renika. How are you?
மாமி நான் வந்து கூட்டிட்டு இந்த கேட்ட கூட்டி சாவி உங்கள்கிட்ட கொடுத்துட்டேன். ஓகேயா? நான் கொஞ்ச நேரம் அந்த கேட் வர கூப்பிடுறேன். அது மட்டும் நீங்க கூட்டிட்டு வந்துருங்க. நான் கிளம்புறப்ப இதெல்லாம் கூட்டிட்டு நான் உங்களுக்கு சாவியை வந்து நான் கொடுத்துட்டேன்.
Last month's speaker has logged in, Professor Anantakrishna.
Yeah, I saw. I think. How is Malaysia, sir? Now, no corona there?
No, we are under peak of Omicron now. Per capita, if you extend, it's like 12 lakh cases a day in India. We get
Oh,
33,000 per day, multiplied by 40,
okay.
almost 13 lakhs. Yeah.
Hmm.
ICUs are 50% full, but still capacity is there. But mortality rate is falling down. From 1.4,
Yeah.
1.5, it has gone down to 0.8 now.
Oh,
That way, it has
okay.
been a blessing.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
Good evening, KRS sir, Dr. Avinash.
Yes, good evening,
Everyone.
Hello.
BVA.
Good evening, Dr. Kuli.
Yeah. I hope everything has come to normalcy now.
Yeah. Mumbai is fairly normal. Mumbai has no deaths for last 10 days. Only one death in week or something like that. And cases also have come down below 50 in Mumbai. So I think that's a good thing.
All flights have started. We are waiting for Pondicherry flight also shortly. I think
Good evening,
27.
sir. Hello,
Good evening.
Avinash. Hello,
Hi,
Koli
Vivek.
sir.
Hi, Vivek.
Hello, sir.
Sethuraman sir. Good evening. I
Namaskar.
don't know. It is good.
Namaste,
Good
Ji.
afternoon there, or what
No,
time in
no, this is
Malaysia?
Oh,
my
Night.
talk is from 10:30 to midnight for me.
Night.
Oh,
I've taken a strong cup of coffee to keep awake.
good evening,
yes.
DK sir.
Whether you sleep or
Good
not,
evening.
I'll sleep off, I think.
Good evening, Avinash.
Hello. Good
evening,
evening,
Good
Srinivas sir.
evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Yes,
Uh,
good evening.
Namaskar,
welcome.
sir.
Guruji,
Namaste.
Mahaguru.
Namaste. How,
Good evening,
Sethuraman,
sir.
how?
Manas from Calcutta.
Oh, good evening. Yes, Dr. Sethuraman, how did you choose at this hour?
I didn't choose, I was given, so I didn't challenge.
He has no choice.
You will have no sleep today. You got to go to bed late.
No, nowadays, normally I go to bed at 12 only, so that's why I accept it.
Oh, that's okay.
Here sunrise is at 7:30, so
Oh, so late. Huh?
hmm.
Yes. Right.
Good evening, sir.
Good
KRS
evening.
sir.
Good evening.
Yes,
Mahalakshmi.
Mahalakshmi.
Hello, sir.
Good evening, Mahalakshmi.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening,
Veda.
Professor
Oh,
Meda.
Dr. Bhattal, sir.
Dr.
Yeah.
Dr. DK sir.
Yes.
Good
I
evening,
just spoke.
DK, sir.
Good evening, Mahalakshmi. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
There is no cricket match today, is it? Is there?
No, I'm just watching. I was just watching till now. Sri
Then,
Lanka is 3 down. Sri Lanka is 3 down. 17 runs.
Then no problem. Today participants will be less than 100 only. Registration don't mean anything.
Yes, yes.
But it is a test match. I mean, I didn't see, so pardon my ignorance, but it is a test match or a one day or what?
It is a test match. It's 18,000 people are there. India all out for 246. Shreyas Iyer 91, 92.
It is a day and night match.
Yes, it is a pink ball day and night.
Oh.
But anyway, now IPL is going to start, so every day there is going to be match. No one.
Yes. Yes.
We are having all the stalwarts from JIPMAR for all these series of lectures, which is there. Very interesting to get insights.
I think the Vice Chancellor should arrange a cricket match among them. And we will play against you. We will beat you all over because you.
It will be interesting to have an online cricket match,
No, any occasion to meet is important. Match and other thing will be secondary. I think post-COVID, it's high time that there has to be some meeting.
Good evening, Dr. Tejinder.
Yeah.
Are you planning NCHP this time, Dr. Subramanian?
ठीक है.
NCHP is in Dehradun.
Oh, okay.
Next year is open. If anybody wants to take next year and a year later, we have announced it now. You can give that thing. And I think anybody wants to take it in 23 and 24, we can do that. And 22 is somewhere in Dehradun. Last year also, Tejinder did very nicely, sir, at Amritsar. It was a very nicely conducted NCHP. Only 1 year we could not do. Even Belgaum was a fantastic conference. And Amritsar was also excellent. I mean, I personally feel it was so well attended electronically.
Good.
If you want to arrange
video.
If you want to arrange in Malaysia, there is strong medical education unit in IMU and our place also. All are
Okay, sir. No issues. Let the executive committee decide. I'm absolutely fine. I'm there. I'm going to come there anytime.
yeah. Once the travel normalizes, from April 1st, they are going to declare it as endemic. So after that, no more restrictions.
Okay, great.
So I think it's already 8 o'clock and we should start the proceedings. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Dr. Rita Sood Memorial Oration and conferment of Lifetime Achievement Award. We're fortunate to have a luminary in Senior Professor K.R. Sethuraman to address us on being an effective scholar and leader from some lessons learned during 5 decades of academic life. Before I request him to deliver his presentation, I request Dr. Deepti to kindly introduce the guest speaker.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. It is my proud privilege to introduce you to a doyen of medical education in India, Senior Professor K.R. Sethuraman, who is being conferred with a Lifetime Achievement Award by MEU India Group and will be delivering the Dr. Rita Sood Memorial Oration on the topic, Be an Effective Scholar and Leader, Some Lessons Learned During 5 Decades of Academic Life.
You have muted yourself.
I'm unmuted, sir.
Yeah, now yes.
Yes, sir. Senior Professor K.R. Sethuraman is the Dean, Faculty of Medicine, AIMS University, Bedang, Malaysia. His outstanding academic life began in 1966 He is an alumnus of the renowned institution JIPMA, both UG and PG. He completed 5 years in residency at JIPMA from 1973 to 1978, following which he worked as a lecturer for 3 years in cardiology at the esteemed institution Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Sciences and Technology, Trivandrum, from 1978 to 1981. He then began his illustrious career in JIPMA as a faculty staff in medicine for 25 years from 1981 to 2006, which includes 20 years in NTTC, National Teacher Training Center, JIPMA, and of that, 10 years as its distinguished coordinator. He subsequently moved to Malaysia as the medical dean and pro-vice chancellor academics at AIMS University for 7 years from 2006 to 2013. He has held the prestigious post of the vice chancellor at Balaji Vidyapeeth for 5.5 years from 2013 to 2018. He is currently the medical dean at AIMS University, Malaysia since 2018. It is his significant second innings. His awards and recognitions: he has bagged a gold medal in biochemistry in the second MBBS between 1968 to 69, JIPMA Scientific Society Best Innovation Award in 1991, and as an invited panel member in Malaysian Medical Review, excuse me, 1 minute. In 2008. His areas of interest are cardiology, medical education, simulation, doctor-patient communication, computers in medicine and education, ethics and professionalism, salutogenesis, etc. Scholarship includes more than 100 articles and more than 170 items uploaded on researchgate.net. He has authored 10 books or manuals, including ECG manuals, rational therapy, OSCE, practical echo and ultrasound scan, medical education volume 1, volume 2, innovations in medical education, trick or treat, health literacy in English, in Tamil, doctor-patient communication in 2000 and 2017. He has authored a chapter in Davidson's Clinical Cases, first and second editions in 2009 and 2012. International advisor for Davidson's textbook from 2006 to 2018, 4 editions in all. He has guided 3 doctoral research, 2 in health professions education and 1 on communication, and 3 more ongoing. Copyrights, he has 16 of them on medical education and salutogenesis in complementary medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, never in my wildest of imaginations did I dream that one day I would have the privilege of introducing the Dronacharya to my Ekalavya. Sir, you have taught me without your knowledge in medical education for more than a decade. Sir, we request you to go ahead with your presentation now. Thank you.
So you have to unmute yourself. So please
Yes,
unmute.
Yeah.
and share screen, sir.
Yeah, okay. First, I want to thank Professor Tejinder Singh and Dr. Sanjay Bedi for this honor and others of the huge medical education unit of India Network, which is the brainchild of Dr. Sanjay and his close friends, including Atkoli, etc. So it is my privilege to deliver the third oration after the two seniors have done, Mahaguru Dr. D.K. Srinivasa and then the immediate senior Dr. Ananthakrishna. So I hope you can see the screen, and Professor Rita Sood is my academic sibling because she is also internal medicine by profession and medical educationist by passion. We used to meet in reorientation of medical education workshops in late 80s and early 90s. And that later led to the MBBS curriculum, which was revised in 1997. We have met in Colombo in the World Federation of Medical Education meet first in 2005, and later when she was president of Sierra in 2014. And of course in NCHPE Bombay 2013 and MAMC Delhi 2015 we met. And that is when I appreciated the huge success she has had in terms of leading Southeast Asian Federation of Medical Education. She confided in me, actually meeting you in Rome too, in All India Institute in 91 or 92. That was the inspiration that convinced me that I too can ride two horses at one time, like you are doing. And then of course she did it with great success. So I think being an inspiration to such high achievers is the real lifetime achievement for me. And whatever MEU unit is giving, I am dedicating it to high achievers like Rita Sood, and some others are there who are in the audience also. And we have been team members in the past, so I dedicate to all of them. Now, the talk is informal, very little medicine, mostly autoethnographic kind of sharing of experiences. And many of the stories will be familiar to others who have heard some of my talks. That is 1972, I became an intern, and the shift in internship mindset was best exemplified by the nurse. Now she used to tell us, till you are in final year MBBS, every day you come and ask us, doctor, is there any good case in the ward, and then you will see and go. In the evenings we used to go. But the day you became intern, you same guys come and ask, is there any bad case in the ward, sister? So that you take care of them. So the mindset changes at that time. You enter academic life, and the life is changed the day you first declare first death and then sign the certificate and get a countersign from senior. That is the day that makes you a medical professional. And that is when you think back, that is the moment when we forget our student days and become a medical professional. That was 50 years back for me in 1972. I'm sharing some of the old stories and new stories. So first I have to acknowledge three groups. One is my sibling sisters, 4 of them. I was planning to join engineering, and they are the ones who sat in school final 1964 and sort of brainwashed me into pursue a career in medicine. No regrets, of course. And to all my teachers and senior professionals I have met since my internship in 72, and they fostered early professional identity formation by calling me professor, nickname professor, even when I was second year PG and all that. I don't know why they said that, but probably that embedded. Is the 32nd year as professor for me, 20th year as senior professor. And also for being such positive role models on what to do, and also showing us what not to do. And finally, the third group is a huge number of teammates in JIPMER days, in NTTC, in AIMS University, in the first innings, second innings, and of course, a huge team of the 4 constituent colleges of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth. Every time we had a collective team goal, we worked together to reach the goal. sometimes I take the credit as Vice Chancellor or Dean, but I always ascribe it to the whole team and it's not my own. So this 90% of this award belongs to them. So thank you very much for joining me in this endeavor. Agenda is not too many. I just want to show the commonality of desirable attributes of the various roles that we play as academic health professionals. I start with 4 domains of Boyer's scholarship model and discuss how these relate to 6 major roles that we play in academia. And then one or two things, since Professor Anatha Krishnan already has elaborated on CBME last month, I'm only going to touch on Dunning-Kruger effect as a blind spot of CBME, and that has to be stressed again, I thought. Then modes of academic leadership, and then a little bit of philosophy, Japanese concept of ikigai, and then each element will have some personal anecdotes and stories to embellish so that I don't sleep off. It is almost 10:45 now for me at night. Okay, so Boyer was a senior educationist in New York, 1928 to 1995, and he was Commissioner of Education for U.S. government for one term, and he broadened the scope. Till then, the colleges means discovery part only. How many papers have you published? How many patents do you have, etc. He said, no, that is only one aspect, one quadrant. There is scholarship of teaching, scholarship of integration, cutting across silos, and interdisciplinary forging of new thoughts and new skills, and of course application in terms of the theory taken to bedside in terms of for clinical medical professions. Similarly, how to put knowledge to work in the practical world. So scholarship of application. So how does it transfer to, and he said academic educators are actually scholar, practitioner, leader. We have that educator role, scholarship of teaching, service provider, scholarship of application, researcher and publisher, discovery and dissemination. And then the 4th, scholarship of integration, is along with soft skills to be an effective communicator, mentor supervisor, team leader, and member of the team. So these are the roles. I'm going to briefly spend 5 minutes perhaps on each, a little more for some of the complex ones, like this one. As medical doctors, we have a huge role of service provision, whether it is laboratory service like microbiology, biochemistry, or paths, or clinical practice in medicine, surgery, and various specialties. And we have to be a lifelong learner of effective problem solving. And as we all know, it needs critical thinking and creative problem solving. So I was pushed very early. So instead of defining creative problem, I'll just show this joke that I picked up, made it a cartoon. Foreign businessman goes to Swiss bank and then takes $500 loan, and he leaves his Mercedes car as a collateral. The manager is so happy to get such a high value collateral, and he's glad to give $500. But the guy comes back 1 year later, repays the loan with $50 as 10% interest, ready to collect his car. Then this chap asked him, did you really need $500 so badly? You left your luxury car for a whole year. Then what did this guy say? He laughed and said, where else in Geneva can I find such a great parking place for just $50 a year? So that is, I thought that joke in 2 pictures condense the whole concept of creative problem solving, critical thinking and creative problem solving. So we can do similar things in medicine. Of course, it won't be humorous like this, but it will be more serious stuff. I'll give an example. 1975 or 76, I don't remember. we were pushed to become creative problem solvers. I'm sure many of us were pushed like that during residency, because some chiefs are theoreticians and they are very knowledgeable in theory, but they don't really tell us what to do. So declarative knowledge was good, but procedural knowledge, they leave it to us. So we have to somehow apply whatever and use creative problem solving techniques. And as a frontliner in charge of the case, we have to quickly develop. Just one example out of several. Rheumatic mitral stenosis came to emergency with severe failure and shock because of atrial fibrillation with rapid ventricular rate and anuric for 6 to 8 hours. So the professor taking rounds, he just said, see how you can only give oxygen, that too you can't even put on backrest because there is no, BP is hardly recordable. You can't elevate the head, it has to be flat. So just put him on flat on the bed, give oxygen and pray, nothing else can be given. Digoxin is contraindicated in anuria, diuretic cannot be given in shock. You can't give inotropy even in mitral stenosis, it won't work. So what will you do? And then he just say it's between him and God and oxygen, and went off. Then we sat think tank. I was chief resident and PGs. We said, okay, the key to cracking this is somehow we have to bring down the heart rate, because in cardiac pathophysiology we are taught stenotic lesions, heart rate has to be slow. And digoxin is a wonderful medicine in atrial fibrillation to bring down the ventricular rate. And nobody says you can't give a loading dose of digoxin. Only repeat dose has to be calculated for creatinine, urea and all that. So we decided to push digoxin, pray God and push digoxin inside IV. And we gave 0.5 milligram, another 0.25 15 minutes later, and in 1 hour heart rate had come down, BP was recordable. And then we could push diuretic Lasix, and then that produced urine. Then we started inotropic support, etc., etc. Next morning, the person was on backrest and comfortable, not in distress. So what I mean is, this way, the theoretical knowledge is purposeless unless we can somehow put it to practice. And that way, now I'm thankful that the professors gave us the knowledge and also freedom to apply it and learn how to be a creative problem solver. So such mindset has helped me in several tight corners. Later, in 1994, I came across this paper, Declarative Knowledge versus Procedural Knowledge. I'll just see the bottom one. Instead of knowing that, the theory part, knowing how, then from being a spectator and commenting that give oxygen and pray, know her as an agent of change, somehow we have to make change and reflect on practice, use practical knowledge, and not knowledge about the world, but knowledge in the world for problem solving. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was the 5 years of residency in which several such experiences were there. And much later, when I was in NTTC, came across this word, and I think I wrote this small paper and put it on ResearchNet sometime in 2000 when I was in charge of NTTC. Problemistics is the science of dealing with problem. In medicine, we just stick to this step 3, problem solving. But the science of problem solving says, first you must frame the problem, see the context, frame what is the problem, then have a holistic approach to identify the problem holistically, not in a silo mode, then choose appropriate action, solution, and fourth is act on that. Theoretical solution is not enough, you have to act on it. So again, one story of a 70-year-old villager. This was when I was an assistant professor or something in mid-80s. Used to get recurrent ketosis and get admitted, and every time she'll be put treatment defaulter, skipped anti-diabetic drugs. And we were giving it free for 2 weeks, but she never came and collected. So the nurses and residents used to scold her and all that. Why do you do like this? You want to die party and all that. Then one day I sat with her, and when her son had come to see her, what is the problem? Why they can't come? The thing is, she can't come by herself, and to come to Jipmer, collect medicine and go means loss of one day's wage. They are daily wage earners, farm laborers. So they said that they can't afford it. So therefore, that was a basic problem. Inability to collect the medicine, even though she is just about 20 kilometers away. Then in the rounds I was discussing, see, the problem is not scolding her, problem is to somehow reach the medicine to her. Then the nurse came with the idea, I know this village, there are some ward boys and nursing orderlies from that place, and within 2 days she identified. In the same street, 4 or 5 houses beyond, there was a nursing orderly. He agreed to take this elderly lady medicine every 2 weeks. And then I used to sign it and give him prescription. Collect it every month. He will come and collect 2 prescriptions. So after that, all this recurrent ketosis, admissions, all that stopped. So problem context is very important. Then holistic approach. Often the solution is out of the box. It's not in prescribing more metformin or more insulin, but finding a way, in this case, how to reach it to her. And then following up and acting so that the thing is actually done. So like that, there are so many other stories. I thought this was kind of mind-opening, so I'm sharing it with you. So for this kind of approach, problemistics, we need active listening to identify problems, creative problem solving to find out-of-the-box solutions, and finally, conation to produce the will to act. So what is conation? Conation is a... So before talking about conation, I'll have to say one more thing. Active listening means what? Theoretically, I can give a lecture on active listening and mindfulness. It's not going to solve the problem. Nuts and bolts. It means to detect and pursue information needs. Again, a story, not mine, some other person shared it from ONG. Young married lady with urinary tract infection comes to the doctor and says, and then he last menstrual period is checked just 30 days ago. It's due in a day or two, she says. So unrecognized is, they don't think there is any problem. They give some quinolone and send her home. But the issue is, supposing she is got pregnant, because ovulation occurs 14 days after the previous menstrual period. So it will be 2 weeks pregnancy. Quinolone is teratogenic and contraindicated. Then what do? Do you abort the baby, advise abortion, etc., etc.? So it's an avoidable problem. So unrecognized is 90% of the consultancy. But somebody who's got active listening, say, remembers, okay, LMP 30 days means if she is pregnant, it will be 2 weeks fetus. So I see. So can I prescribe quinolone? Is it safe in early pregnancy? No, it is not. You pursue, look up, see Google or see your MIMS online, and then it says, no, it cannot be given. It's a C group or D group drug, so not to be given. So find alternative that is safe. So you're, okay, I got some solution. Step 4, satisfied. Then give her a prescription and reflect. It's not over. In this case, it is over. But for later, recycling, reflect on what did I do, did it work, etc., and learn for future. Okay, whenever a reproductive age group female comes to me for consultation, if the LMP, I'll check the LMP, and if it is second half of menstrual cycle, I'll give pregnancy safe medicine, just to keep the fetus safe. So that is a learn. So information needs to follow up and recycling and refinement of our own skills. I learned this from that my colleague some 30 years ago. So whenever reproductive age group ladies come to me for any consult, I use this formula even today. So these are all, then of course acting on it, conation is an important factor. It should not be a theoretical exercise like give oxygen and pray, but you have to have the will to act. So that is where Bloom's taxonomy's weak spot comes. We all talk Bloom's taxonomy, for ages, and there is stress on cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain. But what is left out in between is conative domain. So conative, you can Google search and see there are lots of articles. Somehow it is one of the Cinderellas of the three sisters, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor are the other ones, and Cinderella is the conative one. But that is the one that actually does all the hard work. To act, the will to act, the volition to produce, move yourself and do things, and do it ethically, and all that is conative element. Affection is only feeling. You feel, you emote, you have aesthetics, you care. You can care, but do you do? So that is where the difference comes. So can do, won't do is an example of absence of conative domain. So it is necessary to progress from competence to performance. Conation, conative domain, reduces competence performance gap, and this is courtesy Professor Tejinder, who is chairman of this organization, and he said this in NCHP. I made a mental cartoon. I am showing it to you in electronic form now. The car can run at 180 kilometers speed given ideal conditions and RPM 7000 capacity. Then it will show. But in the city traffic, it's performing at struggling to touch 10 action in real life. So that is in one sentence, Professor explained the difference between competence and performance. And I think conation is an important element of this, where there is no traffic to block you, but in the bedside where patients are being treated. So that logically leads to second role of scholar, practitioner, leader, that as an educator of skills and competencies. I'm thankful to Professor Ananthakrishnan for giving an elaborate lecture last month, same date, 12th February. So I'll just repeat: competency is equal to skills plus knowledge plus behavior, and one's overall ability to fulfill the requirement or task. And learners go through 4 stages during skill learning before reaching mastery. If you follow Dreyfus, it is 5 stages. There are other taxonomies, 6 stages also. So this is easy as a 2 by 2 table. Incompetence, competence on top, and then on the sideways, unconscious and conscious. So all learners begin at ignorance is bliss stage. They don't even know that they don't know. Unconscious incompetence, and they need insight to go to conscious incompetence, so that they become novice. They'll become aware that I don't know anything, but I must learn this in order to become a doctor. So that appetite creation is very important factor of shifting from stage 1 to stage 2. Then they go through practice to conscious competence, advanced beginner. Then later, of course, mastery, unconscious competence. So with repeated practice. So the challenge in competency-based medical education, in my mind, is that teachers often assume learners to be in stage 2, that they want to learn, they have appetite to learn. They are conscious of their incompetence, which may be false. And we think that if they skip the class, we don't even know why it is happening. Why are they not coming? Why are they not attending these things? So because they are stuck at stage 1, where ignorance is bliss stage, unaware of the skill, unaware of its relevance or benefits of acquiring this skill. So the failure to move from unconscious to conscious incompetence is perhaps a major reason for failure or struggling of competency-based medical education in some colleges. So this was described by Dunning-Kruger. So it is known as Dunning-Kruger effect, 1999. The paper can be downloaded. So cognitive bias where unskilled students think have illusory superiority. Excellent phrase, illusory superiority, false positive. I have seen it in YouTube, I can do it, fallacy. And conversely, highly skilled teachers also may erroneously assume, because we take BP in 1 minute or 2 minutes, we think everybody should be able to take blood pressure recording in 1 or 2 minutes, which may not be the case with the novices. So anyone should be able to do it, fallacy. So both come under Dunning-Kruger effect of students and of senior staff. I had seen this 12 years before Dunning-Kruger wrote this, but we never theorized it. When I was skilled assistant in the exam, one final year candidate in the exam was trying to record BP with the mercury column horizontal and the dabba vertical. And he was recording 300 and he became panicky. Sir, I'm getting 300, came running to me. I said, it cannot be 300. We don't give hypertension in undergraduates. So went and saw this was the problem. When I pointed out also, he didn't recognize. And that is the time I had an epiphany. That is called sudden insight or aha phenomena or eureka phenomena. All mean the same thing. Saying that this guy, some 65 students get in out of some 20,000, 30,000 those days, who write the entrance exam, spends 4.5 years in JIPMER, and then in the final exam takes mercury column horizontal and trying to take BP. So who is at fault? If he is not bothered to learn, I thought that as associate professor in medicine, I am also collectively responsible. So I took it as a personal mission from 1987. Every student must perform must-do skills in formative OSCE during medicine posting. Observe each one and give corrective feedback and try to eliminate the procedural error. So used postgraduates as OSCE station supervisors. They learn by watching undergraduates commit mistakes and giving corrective feedback. And the undergraduates learn from PGs by doing the errors and getting formative. So innovative use of OSCE, assessment as learning. This phrase also was not known at that time. I called it as remedial use of OSCE. The innovative use of OSCE for remedial learning. That was a paper published in Medical Teacher in 1993. So it was, I heard that it's going on even today. I used to do it on Fridays for about 18 years till I left. After that, other units have taken over. They are still doing it. That's what I heard. So that aligns to this mastery learning model. As you can see, given enough number of practice, everybody reaches minimum level of competence. But we give 5 or 10 experiences by which average person reaches minimum level of competence. But at that time, this slow achiever is still below par when we say you are failure. But given additional training, they reach minimum level. And I am more interested in this kind. Ivan Lendl in tennis, slow high achiever. He took many years to win this Grand Slam, but after that he won 4 or 5. So slow high achievers. We have, I know personally several of them from JIPMER, slow high achievers, which others will call them failure, but I used to take personal interest and try to mentor them. Then what is the spin-off of this interest in CBME? The co-native domain is perhaps strong in my DNA. So we initiated a 6-monthly overall review of competencies using American Board of Internal Medicine Competency Framework of 2000. What Professor AK presented is a competency framework in the second decade of 21st century. But in 1999, they issued this framework, which they used in USA in 2000 onwards. In 2003, in JIPMER, we initiated in Department of Medicine. Once in 6 months, call the PGs and give global feedback on the 6 domains. Their skill of various, which Professor Ananthakrishnan described earlier. It is easy to do minimum paperwork. Those of you who are put off by the enormous work that goes under COBALT program in Balaji Vidyapeeth since 2016, you can at least start on this. I know it's still going on now. It's the 20th year. The current head of department told me they are still doing it every 6 months. And the PGs appreciate it also, that getting feedback from all the faculty on their progress along the 6 domains of competence. So, but if you have the wherewithal, by all means, follow the current CBME norms, which is much more complicated and needs a lot of things. But and the other spin-off was when I was VC, I was in part of the team that attended MHRD meet on CBM on some curricular innovation or something they arranged. In that, I got a 15-minute slot to talk on CBME initiatives at SBV. Okay, so any brief reactions and queries, please put in the chat box, and I'll continue. The other 3 are relatively, and the first 2 are a bit heavy in patient care and in teaching. Now, effective communicator is another example of ignorance is bliss. Anyone who can speak can communicate well is common fallacy, common myth everybody thinks. And in my mind, another example of unconscious incompetence or being in stage 1 at the bottom of competency pyramid. Why I realized this is, again, story of 1974 when I was first year PG. An intern was posted first day in ONG, and then he was asked to take history, and he just went through the checklist, and this is what happened. The first case he recorded: are you married? No. Any children? She got angry and went and complained to the head of department inside. Then she came and advised this chap, don't worry, ask the question other way around. No, she was very busy. She just mumbled and went off. So this chap, the next case, do you have kids? Yes, I do. Are you married? She got even more angry. Shouted at him and complained to the head of department. Then what happened? He was transferred to operating room so that he can take down operating notes, which people dictate. He can't, he need not ask any questions. So he was safely put in the OT duty every day. So, but what it taught me is routine communication, which is out of context, can land one in big trouble, and communication is always contextual. It is not enough to know English or a mother tongue or a vernacular. It is an art and a skill, and it is to be taught. And that was driven into me again. 1987 was a watershed year for me in many ways. 188 alumni attended the annual meet, and I sent a form around. 5 topics I would have liked to learn in MBBS if I could go back in time. And they returned the sheets. All alumni had stated in their list of 5 how to talk with patients. So it got first rank. And 182 had said how to talk to patients' relatives, talk with them. Second rank. So that convinced me that some major lacuna was there, even in frontline institutions like JIPMA. So I was in NTTC by then, new novice, first year of NTTC resource person. I said, why can't I learn myself? So from scratch, self-learned for next 5 years, journals, articles, this, that. And then I have a diary with all the reflections written. And then by 93, I was comfortable to launch sensitization program for UGs, and next year for PGs, 94. So this is basically a 3-hour session on attributes of effective communication on this 8 attributes. This applies to all communication, whether teacher talking to student, doctor talking to patient, husband talking to wife, parent talking to child. These 8 attributes you can work out if you think, if you reflect on it. So 8 role plays to trigger discussion on patient personality type and how to handle them, and 8 more role plays on the common errors in doctor-patient communication. And it is still ongoing in ATTC. And I think if you request them, they might have the digital copies of the 16 trigger videos. What is the positive fallout? Again, conation helped when you persist with that. About 12 years, 13 years after I got this insight into lack of communication skill among doctors, published the first book in India on doctor-patient communication. It was revised and released second edition in 2017. And this book motivated Professor Varsha Murthy. She was professor of Prof when I was vice chancellor in Balaji Vidyapith. One day she walks into my room with a copy of the book. Sir, this book has coaxed me. I should do a communication skills training for Prosto PGs and effect as a PhD topic. Will you be my guide? So I just took it as a challenge, and it was like a dream come true. That surprisingly we found 8-fold increase in patient satisfaction among one of the most difficult patients to satisfy. Completely edentulous patient who are given dentures, for upper and lower, both completely changed. One of the difficult ones, by 8-fold increase in patient satisfaction, just takes 18 hours, 9 sessions or 2 hours each, makes so much of difference. Don't you think that every educator should try this, even for undergraduates? I think it is worthwhile. And therefore, this result of this PhD, that was available, known to us in 2019. By then I was in Malaysia. So here we have started a certificate in communication skill for healthcare professionals. I think some of the participants today, audience, they are among the 120 educators who have got certified. Almost 115 are from India, 5 are from Malaysia. And it's a multimodal course using universal design for learning. So that's very flexible and easy to undergo. And only 6 Sundays, you have to sacrifice 3 hours every Sunday for 6 Sundays. So ACL, that is a lifelong learning. AIMS Center of Lifelong Learning is ACL. You can write to them in case you want to join. Okay. So that way, that you can consider as a short commercial break for 1 minute. Dr. Sanjay Baidi and Tejinder Singh may pardon that. Okay. Now, scholar, practitioner, leader as a researcher and innovator. First thing, if you want to do any innovation, you have to be aware of this William James poem. When a thing is new, they say it's not true. When it is obvious, they say it's not important. And when its importance cannot be denied, they say anyway it's not new, it's old hat. You have to be, so whatever stage you go, you can get brushed aside by majority, and you have to learn to ignore it and persist with our dream. So that is the first lesson if you want to persist with any innovation. The desirable qualities of researcher, I put this list of 12 just to show that all this open-minded, accurate, motivational, patient, prudent, expert, analytical, unbiased interest in clients or whatever, amiable, approachable, ability to work under pressure, applies to all our 6 roles. Whether you are a mentor, whether you are a team leader, whether you are an educator, or whether you are a practitioner, these desirable qualities of researchers equally applies across. So just wanted to point out that. So my personal favorite is action research, which is possible for practitioner research scholars. And we can adopt this discipline-based educational research called DBER. If the word is new, the whole book is available. They are from 2012. National Academy Press USA has put this whole book on the net. You can download it chapter-wise or the whole book for free. And this is my personal choice because it has got an innate conative action follow-through built in. You do action research, that is pure distal conation and follow-through. So my personal growth in this area happened only after I became Vice Chancellor, not before. I didn't have the time. Guiding 6 PhD projects, all are discipline-based educational research in action research mode. 3 completed one, all 3 got excellent comments from international evaluators. One was integrated teaching learning of radiology in the 5th semester MBBS. And second was early identification of this so-called low achievers. We call them students needing additional curricular or additional psychological support, SNAPs. So that is used in Balaji Vidyapeeth, and now we are using it in AIMS University also. And third was, this is Dr. Shivashakti's thesis. She is still in Balaji Vidyapeeth. You can ask her how to identify by end of first term in the first year of professional course. She is able to predict who are vulnerable students for failure, and so that we have 6 months for remedial action. Instead of telling them you're a poor student after they fail, you try to prevent failure. That is the whole purpose of the thesis. And third one was, which I already said about doctor-patient communication skill. And these 3 together generated more than 20 odd papers and secured 16 copyrights, of which I am a member. So even though Professor Deepthi presented my name, the team is responsible for all this. Mine was only support and a little bit of inspiration, but all the perspiration was done by this team. Reflections of action researcher, this is published, so instead of writing my own thoughts, I thought I'll share that. It gives you insight into action research and makes us professional and lifelong learner. And we can identify an area where change is needed, whether it is in communication or competence building or whatever, and then make positive change within the learning environment. And the journey of action, reflection, and self-discovery that demonstrate that the students have benefited a lot. So this is from an article in Teaching in Higher Education in 2012. So I totally endorse that and agree with that. And the 5th one, scholar, practitioner, leader, a supervisor, and a mentor. I start with Mahatma Gandhi's quote as a service, service as a privilege. He's supposed to have said this while opening something in South Africa. That's what I remember reading. Customer is the most important visitor. We are dependent on him. He is not an interruption. He is a purpose of our work, and he is doing us a favor by giving us the opportunity to serve him. It's called servant leadership or service as a privilege. You can take either way. And if you paraphrase it for patient, first paraphrase, most important person in the hospitals, we are dependent on them. If no patient comes, then we have to close down. And they are not an interruption in our work, but they are the purpose of it. But in India, every patient comes and say, "Sorry, doctor." Why should we be sorry? We should be happy that they are coming. They are not an interruption. They are the purpose. And we are thankful for the opportunity to take care of them. And when you are wearing a teacher cap, then student is the most important one. And we thank them for giving us the opportunity to teach them. And when you are a senior researcher guiding or mentoring juniors, They are the most important clients. I am dependent on my junior researcher because they do all the legwork. And I'm thankful to them for giving us the opportunity to guide them. And finally, when you are a senior staff or head of the department or head of institution, junior staff is the most important person. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to mentor and shape them. So once you internalize this Mahatma Gandhi's concept of service provider as a privilege, there is another long story. Because time is short, I'm skipping that. I'll tell some other day. A retired professor of surgery from KEM, Mumbai, he has told me that. I removed those 2 slides. But it is there in the soft copy, which is there in ResearchGate. You can read it. See the 12 attributes of effective supervisor, Mayo Clinic questionnaire. This is given to the people who are supervised on how effective is your supervisor. But you see the thing, these apply to other roles of us as a teacher, as a clinician, or whatever, service provider, etc. Developmental orientation, inspirational, empowering the junior or patient or student, and interested in the subordinate's opinion, encourage them, give respect and dignity, give feedback and coaching, recognize them for a job well done, even if it is taking medicines on time. We have to appreciate the patient, isn't it? So in all roles, it applies, not only for supervision. Keeps the person informed, talent and skills, and they feel like recommending you, word of mouth recommending that you are a good person, and they get satisfied with your supervision. So, 12 attributes.
We don't really focus on development.
So there is a common approach. If somebody student appears truant, we just call them. I mean, many of us call them. Look here, Kumar, you write all this drivel and wasting my time. Do you think we are fools to weigh your kilograms of your answers and give marks and all that? So the one way of putting him down, but he will probably look very solemn in front of you and then go out and then continue to do the same thing. So they say asset-based approach is better to recognize at least whatever achievement they do. So here his handwriting is neat. So he comments on that. Your handwriting is so nice and legible. So if you match your what you write, your content matter with the style of writing, then you will get A grade, and all that. So at least he knows, okay, my teacher appreciates my handwriting, so I must not write nonsense, I should write some sense. The fellow will go and try to read up. So this is an example of asset-based approach. Nobody is totally black and nobody is totally white. Everybody is shades of gray. So you comment on the white aspect and then you give how to get rid of the blackness and make it closer to a whiter end of the gray. I am assuming that the whiter is the desirable one and the blacker is undesirable. You can do the other way around also if you like that. So in mentorship, personal, here I go into a little bit of psychology. Sense of coherence is a mathematical formula based, easy to understand. That is, sense of coherence is comprehension or understanding plus manageability and finding meaning in that managing. So that is what it means. And this sense of coherence can be considered as a pyramid with the one, my world is understandable, my world is manageable, and my world has meaning. If you can give that kind of sense, then your client, whether you're a junior staff or a student or a patient, they accept whatever you say. But if they can't understand their world, they are incoherent, or like that old lady, she knew she had diabetes in the village, but she couldn't manage to come and collect the medicine. So world, because there is no way. So in that case, arranging a solution was how to reach the medicine to her. Like that, we also use this formula, understand the problem, find a manageable solution, and make it meaningful to the person receiving it. So this mentorship, I've written a paper because there is no time to talk about this. 5 papers on salutogenesis of mine are there. One of them is on mentoring. I've given 4 stories on, I think 3 of them are from Ames University. When, as a dean, how I mentored them using this sense of coherence approach. And one is, I think, from Jipmer days. But mentees' responses matter a lot. They can misuse sometimes. A mentor is a ladder. Some use it properly to climb to the top. Some misuse it, jump on it, misuse it for fun. And some get entangled and get into problems, more problems. So the last one is leader and team builder. Nurturing leadership is green flag, adopt, and toxic leadership is to avoid. But in academic, I want to concentrate on 3 types of leadership. One is academic leadership is to link theory or scholarship with practice. No? This is what I started with. How to declarative or theoretical knowledge, how to link with procedural or practical knowledge. So that is often missing, and it's known as knowledge practice gap in medicine, nursing, dentistry. All professions have this challenge. Every educator, each one of us, starting from postgraduate level, student or resident, we can help this to close this gap. So I'll just give 2 examples. Now this is what I gave in one of the talks in some college where I had to went on this theory practice gap. Vigorous aerobic exercise, best done on empty stomach, improves cardiorespiratory health. All of us learnt it in physiology. And comfort level walking after a meal, postprandial walk, flattens postprandial glycemic level. Biochemistry teaches this in biochemistry. Physiology teaches the other one, first principle. What it means is when cardiac patients come or patient want to develop cardiac health, we should recommend vigorous exercise like cycling, walking, swimming, etc. before meal on empty stomach to improve heart and lung function. Whereas for diabetes, they should walk 20 minutes after meal, walk for 20 minutes after a meal at comfortable pace. Then I asked in the audience, all doctors or nurses were sitting, how many of you are practicing this or telling your relatives with sugar or heart problem or for health? So nobody is aware, nobody. But they have, when you point out this theory, they say, yeah, somebody taught us in year 1, year 2. So can't the teacher plug the gap when we teach? Basic science doesn't mean it has to be basic, buried there somewhere. It has to become living so that in clinical practice they can use. So this is where every teacher from anatomy upwards, theory practice gap has to be plugged. It is not the job of clinical staff. It is the job of biochemistry teacher who is teaching to link it to later day clinical practice, so that when a clinician tells, it will be reinforced. So therefore, come out of the silos and adopt a CBME curriculum, the new one. It's a nice concept, and if it is done properly, will produce outstanding doctors. And now next is regarding nurturing leadership of Gandhiji. I showed the quote, service as a privilege. Use it with caution, because giving a long rope in the form of nurturing leadership may backfire. Again, good ones will climb to the top. Some misuse it for fun. This fellow is skipping with that. Some may entangle oneself. And the worst, tragically, some may hang themselves. So what I mean is literal, not literally, but conceptually. They get into trouble and get dismissed from service, that they don't know how to behave. So situational leadership is better. You start from right bottom, directing S1. That is for people with low competence and high commitment. You direct them. And I used to do this in 2006 when I joined here as dean. First innings. People were low competence in terms of medical education because they were not trained at all totally. But had a high commitment to get good name because your foreign land, most of them were for expatriate staff from Egypt, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and all that. So then once you direct one round, then we started coaching them. Professor Narayan was with me, NTTC, former guy. We two of us conducted courses over a 9-month cycle, and coaching was so some competence, some commitment. Then left top, supporting them, high competence, commitment. By then I had left. 2012, 2013, they were in supporting stage. They wrote the curriculum document themselves with minimal support. But now in my second innings, I have totally delegated. Same guys are there. In the past 13, 14 years, they have really come up in competency, high competence, high commitment. So I'm just relaxing as a senior guy, Sometimes I think they think I'm too old to be dean, and so probably they're refusing to give me. But anyway, they have not let me down till now. And I'm glad to delegate all the stuff to them, and they are actually running the show for me. Deputy deans, coordinators, and all that. So therefore, situational leadership works a lot, and it was of course best tested the past 2 years during pandemic 2020, 21. All of us were struggling hard to run the program and do all our roles effectively. They say that situation in crisis, you have to take speed over precision, adopt and adapt boldly whatever other people are doing successfully, reliably deliver, and engage for impact. So these are 4 steps in curriculum. We have done this, so I've published this. This is also downloadable. Effective curricular delivery during pandemic. We adopted what is called as jigsaw model curriculum, and 2 batches we have successfully done in Skills Lab, and got good feedback from our public university dean for the way exams were conducted, simulating long case, simulating short case. Okay, third one, this is the last slide, I think. Transformational leadership, advocacy. This is the other one. Lancet Commission, as you know, suggested that in 21st century, we should produce graduates who will be advocates for change. What is a change? Change is from inequality, which is there in every field, to equality. It is not enough. Both got the same ladder, no left bottom. The right top is equity. You give a taller ladder to the girl who needs to climb higher, that is equity. But ideal will be justice. Equity is possible. Justice is because this other person on the left will say, other girl got a higher ladder, I didn't get. So give equal ladder to both, but the tree is now fixed with things so that it's straight. So justice. So we have to move from inequality and just mere equality principle to equity, optimum in most cases, and ideal will be to strive for justice. There are some other stories of this fighting for equity and justice. Since there is no time, maybe some other time I'll talk about it. And now the last slide, I think, before ending is sustaining oneself in academic career, which is a long haul. The 50th year for me started in 1972. How to sustain our interest over 30 to 50 years of academic life. So for that, a little bit of philosophy, Japanese concept of ikigai, and that is reason for being, sense of purpose, life of meaning, and feeling of well-being and joy. That is what it means. So it is put as a formula that the passion and mission is what you love doing. Like Ananta Krishnan says, medicine is surgery is my mission, and medical education is my passion. So like that, that which you love. Then what world needs? and what you can be paid for, because we have to survive. And the fourth circle is what you are good at. So if all of them synchronize, then you have sense of purpose, sense of peace, sense of wellness, sense of joy. Every day you get up, you feel happy that you are there with one more day of professional work ahead of you. So that is Ikigai in short. And for myself, I don't know, others have different ways of coping. For me, changing focus avoided the monotony and burnout for me. Burnout is characterized by exhaustion, cynicism at workplace, especially perceived reduction in professional ability. So I got it after 25 years of being clinician in JIPMER, because there is hardly any time for research or any other thing. So in the early stage of burnout, so that is why I shifted to full time. So before that also I was changing. For 5 years, initial 5 years it was ECG, then it became cardiology for about 7 years, ultrasound scan, 10 years, IT and computers in medicine, networking and all that were another 10 decade. Then communication skills still ongoing. 93, the 20th year for me. 30th year, huh? Yeah. Too many years. Communication skill. In between it was dormant. Then full-time administration and educationist, now for the 15th, 16th year. So these have been my foci. So that has avoided monotony and burnout in my case. I shifted out of JIPMER at the right time, so that patients will still remember me as a good doctor, not as a cynical doctor. So though our roles in academics are multifaceted, a few common attributes and abilities help us to manage all the roles well. Critical thinking, creative problem solving, effective communication, and successful teamwork are some of the important abilities. Coordination to recognize and act on problems and to follow up until it is resolved is key to be effective and to be an efficient problem solver. Nurturing leadership, incorporating asset-based approach and a sense of coherence is useful in successful team building and mentoring. And finally, focus on life's purpose, mission and passion in one's academic career helps one to face all the challenges with long-term perspective and to move on with this formula: accept, accommodate, adapt, navigate or resist, but always carry on ever forwards. So thank you very much for this honor and for listening to me patiently. So I hand over back to the master of ceremony.
Thank you, Professor Sethuraman, for sharing what I can call as the distillate of your life's experience. And if you look at the comments which have come in the chat box, and I'm sure they are a testimony to the quality of the talk, the concepts, and the words of wisdom that you have shared with the audience. So thank you very much, sir. Can you please stop sharing your screen, sir?
I've stopped, I thought.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I've stopped sharing.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's my privilege on behalf of MBU India Group to present you with the Dr. Rita Sood Memorial Oration. Please accept the award on our behalf. It's also my privilege to present you the Lifetime Achievement Award on behalf of the MBU India Group. Dr. Sanjay Bedi, Dr. Arun Sood, who is with us in the audience. We all are grateful to you for having obliged us with your acceptance of this award and presenting your lifetime experiences. So thank you very much. Thank you once again. And thank you, audience. We'll continue with the series. We'll shortly let you know for the next month's program. So thank you very much. Good night.
Good
And
night,
see you soon.
everybody.
See you
Thanks
soon.
a lot. And
Good night, sir.
once again, I close with thanks to Professor Tejinder Singh and his team.
Good night. Well done.
Yes, he
Well
was
done,
my
Sidhu.
guru. Yes.
Well done, Dr. Sethuraman. Well done.
Thank you, DKS.
I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Sure.
Thank you, Dr. Tejinder Singh. It was a good eye opener for all of us.
Thank you, sir. Very much. Very nice.